2 years after my best friend and I were married off to the Black and White Reapers, a rumor started going around the underworld that they each had an old flame. The Black Reaper, Liam, was as cold and distant to me as he'd been before our wedding. He had never even touched me. Meanwhile, the White Reaper, Ethan, was just as gentle with my best friend, Chloe, as ever. But she would still come to me in tears. All that kindness and affection? It's a complete act. I've seen it for a while now. It's obvious he just thinks of me as a roommate. He doesn't even like me, so what's the point of sticking around? Seeing her so upset, and thinking about my own situation these past few years, I couldn't help but tear up too. I'm leaving this place, she declared. Are you coming or not? Our eyes met. I'm in. Later, during a war between the Underworld and the Demon Realm, the Reaper's 2 wives were reportedly kidnapped by demons, their fates unknown. A month after that, 2 mysterious tea house owners appeared in the mortal realm. I was on my usual shift helping Old Lady Meng serve soup at the Bridge of Forgetfulness, when I overheard a couple of spirits talking. Did you hear? The Black and White Reapers have always been in love with other people. What? But they're both married. I heard the White Reaper and his wife are very happy, and the Black Reaper is just naturally a cold person. No, it's true. Apparently, ever since they went to the mortal realm to catch a stray soul a few years ago, they've been hung up on 2 women they met there. Hearing that, my hand tightened around the ladle. Noticing something was wrong, Old Lady Meng frowned and shooed the 2 spirits away. Go on, get out of here. If you love gossiping so much, maybe a trip to the hell of tongue ripping will cure you. The 2 spirits shut up and scurried off. Old Lady Meng looked at my pale face and sighed, patting me on the shoulder without a word. She knew, of course, what Liam's attitude toward me had been like for the 2 years we'd been married. 2 years ago, Chloe and I had arrived in the Underworld together. The Underworld King took one look at the Book of Life and Death and scowled. According to him, Chloe and I weren't supposed to die. In fact, we were destined for wealth, happiness, and wonderful lives. Somehow, something had gone terribly wrong, and our memories of the mortal realm were hazy at best. With a wave of his hand, the king decided to marry us off to the Black and White Reapers. Liam and Ethan are my top enforcers, he said. Stick with them, and you 2 will be able to get away with anything in this place. When we had just arrived, we both met the 2 famous Reapers. Honestly, they were incredibly handsome. So without a second thought, we both agreed. I figured since I never got to experience marriage in the mortal realm, I might as well give it a real shot as a ghost. But reality hit me like a ton of bricks. Since our wedding day, Liam had never touched me. Even on our wedding night, he just stood by the bed, his icy gaze sweeping over me. You can sleep, he said. It's our wedding night, so I won't disrespect you by leaving. He stood there the entire night, unwilling to even lie down next to me. I thought that after we were married, our relationship would warm up over time. But he remained as cold as ever, never initiating any contact. Once, when he was hit with an aphrodisiac from the demon realm, I took the initiative. I approached him, wearing nothing but a sheer robe, and wrapped my arms around his waist. Even when I was human, I rarely ever humbled myself like that. I felt Liam's breathing grow heavy, and thought things would finally happen naturally. But a second later, he pushed me away, struggling to keep his voice steady. I don't need this. I'll go to the cold spring. He soaked in that cold spring all night, toughing it out. I stood at the door where he left, watching for him all night long. Maybe because I had just arrived in the underworld and my body hadn't fully adjusted, I fell terribly ill after that night. During the days I was bedridden, only Chloe came to see me. Liam never showed his face. From then on, every ghost in the underworld knew that the Black Reaper was not happy with his arranged marriage. And now, I finally understood why he had been so cold to me all these years. Get away with anything? That damn king totally lied to me. Old Lady Meng was about to try and console me, but when she heard me cursing out the king himself, she kept quiet. My reflection in the soup showed a face that was so much thinner than when I was human. In that moment, something clicked. If I was going to waste my afterlife tangled up with this jerk in this dump, I might as well find a way out. With that thought, I tossed the ladle to Old Lady Meng and rushed over to Ethan's residence. If I was going to leave, I definitely had to plan it with Chloe. When I got to Ethan's estate, Chloe was crying next to a flowering tree in the courtyard. She was sobbing while digging a hole and burying things in it. This tree was one of the few living things in the underworld. The seeds were said to be extremely precious, something Ethan had earned from the underworld king through his military service. At the time, they had only been married for a little over a month. She had pulled me over, excitedly pointing at the sapling that had just begun to sprout. I love these flowers the most. I heard the king adores these seeds. Ethan must have gone through a lot to get them for me. I walked over and saw what she was burying. It was all the rare and curious things Ethan had collected for her over the years. Aren't these all gifts from Ethan? Are you sure you want to bury them? I asked, crouching down beside her. She had probably heard what those two spirits were talking about. After all, Chloe loved to gossip with every spirit she met. Chloe turned, and the moment she saw me, she threw her arms around me and burst into tears. Ava, he doesn't love me at all. All that kindness and affection. He just wants to keep up appearances for everyone else. She sobbed, her words broken. I've been watching him, ever since I heard the news. I always felt something was off. I realized he doesn't treat me like a wife at all, more like a roommate. He has someone else in his heart. Why should I stick around anymore? I sighed and stroked Chloe's hair. Even after all this time, she still held on to the same belief she had as a child. The person she married had to be someone she was truly in love with, or she'd rather not marry at all. Okay, stop crying. This is exactly what I came to talk to you about. I'm planning to leave this place. Are you in? Chloe stopped crying, wiped her tears, and stared at me. It's fine if you don't want to. After all, Ethan is actually pretty good to you right now. At that, I thought about my own life over the past few years and sighed. Liam and Ethan were worlds apart. I remembered when Chloe first slept with Ethan. She came to me, excited and shy, to talk about it. I just stood there, awkwardly unsure of how to respond. I couldn't very well tell her that on my wedding night, Liam stood by the bed the entire time. I looked at her sadly. It's not like me. In all these years, Liam has never been willing to touch me. Hearing this, Chloe first froze, then her eyes widened in shock. What did you say? That bastard. It was bad enough he ignored you when you were sick, but he hasn't touched you in 2 years. How is that any different from being a widow? A widow stuck with a block of wood. I coughed twice, cutting her off. You don't have to put it so harshly. Just tell me, are you in or out? Chloe looked at me and nodded without a shred of hesitation. In. Of course I'm in. Otherwise, I'd just be stuck with a ghost who's in love with someone else. The thought of it makes me sick. Tell me, what's the plan? A glint appeared in my eye. I thought it all out on the way here. It's simple. We fake our deaths, escape to the mortal realm, and start over as humans. Start over as humans. Chloe's eyes widened in disbelief. How is that possible? I gave her a mysterious smile and leaned in to whisper. I once heard one of Liam's subordinates mention that there's a river on the border between the underworld and the demon realm. At the bottom of that river is a well, and if you go through it, you can return to the mortal realm. Chloe nodded, seeming to understand, but then she hesitated. But even if we go back, we'll still be ghosts. We won't be able to stand the sunlight. Don't worry about that. Things are tense between the underworld and the demon realm right now. All we have to do is blame our deaths on an assassination by demons. Okay. Leaving Ethan's estate, I was trying to figure out if there were any flaws in our plan when I heard a call from not far away. Greetings, ma'am. I paused. In the underworld, very few people ever called me that. Besides the servants at home, it was only the men from Liam's garrison. I was about to look up when I bumped into a hard chest. What are you doing here? I rubbed my slightly sore nose and looked up at the familiar face. Liam looked down at me, his cold expression seeming to broadcast just how unhappy he was to see me. I'm leaving right now. Seeing Liam's icy stare, my heart fluttered. I used to visit Liam many times, but most of the time, I couldn't even get to see him. His reason was always, how can I be distracted while on duty? I got tired of trying to be friendly to a brick wall, and eventually stopped coming altogether. Just as I was about to turn and leave, Liam grabbed my hand. I turned back in surprise. Liam still had the same expression, but his tone had softened considerably. I heard you were sick a few days ago. Don't go helping old Lady Ming for a while. Stay home and rest. I'll have someone send you some elixirs to help you recover. I paused. Was Liam genuinely concerned about me? Or did he just not want me to hear the rumors outside? Okay. He seemed taken aback by how readily I agreed. I still have work to do here, so I can't leave. You should head back first. Don't wait up for me. I nodded and turned to leave without any hesitation. But Liam grabbed me again, taking off his cloak and draping it over my shoulders. The underworld has been unstable lately. I'll probably be busy outside for a while. Stay safe. Ghosts can't feel hot or cold. But at that moment, I felt a strange warmth from the cloak, as if a current was flowing through my entire body. Liam was acting very strange today. I gave him a complicated look and chalked it up to a bit of advice born from 2 years of living together. After all, there was no room for anyone else in his heart. I nodded, pulled the cloak tighter around me, and walked away. For 3 straight days I stayed at home, and Chloe rarely went out either. We were both tacitly preparing for our escape. Liam's estate was full of valuable things. Just a few items would be worth a fortune in the mortal realm. Operating on the principle of taking as much as I could, I nearly filled the magic pouch he had casually given me before. After all, we weren't going to the human world to suffer, we were going to live as comfortably as possible. As I was rummaging through the house for more things to take, my eyes fell on Liam's study. Liam never let anyone in his study, not even me. You could find treasures anywhere in this house, let alone the study. I couldn't pass this up. With that thought, I pushed the door open and went inside. Lighting a candle, I carefully examined the room. The study was very tidy. I searched along the shelves and found a hidden compartment. I opened it, and a jade pendant appeared before my eyes. I eagerly picked it up, wanting to get a closer look at this treasure that Liam had hidden so carefully. But one glance left me sorely disappointed. He treasures such a plain jade pendant? I muttered under my breath. Even in the mortal realm, this jade was of the most inferior quality. Looking at it again, however, I felt a strange sense of familiarity. Just as the thought crossed my mind, the study door was thrown open. My body froze as I heard the footsteps getting closer behind me. Without a doubt, the only person who would barge into the study was Liam. I clutched the jade pendant, closed my eyes, and turned around. I was about to offer an explanation when he pulled me into an embrace. His heavy breathing was right next to my ear. Though it felt strange, I didn't forget to explain myself. I just saw you hadn't been back in a while, and wanted to tidy up for you. The next second, my lips were covered. I stared at Liam in disbelief. This was the first time he had ever kissed me voluntarily. To be precise, it was our first kiss ever. His scent filled my senses, and I felt my head spin. I don't know how long it lasted, but Liam finally let me go when I was almost out of breath. I stared at him blankly. In the candlelight, his face was an unnatural shade of red. "What's wrong with you?" Liam didn't answer, just pulled me into his arms again. These demons, they only know these cheap tricks. Liam let out a cold laugh. But I underestimated them this time. This drug seems to be even more. He grunted, leaving his sentence unfinished. But I understood what he meant. He had been hit with some kind of aphrodisiac again. I pushed him away, trying to calm myself. I'll get someone to take you to the cold spring." Liam didn't respond, just stared at me intently. "Why? What?" Before I could react, he swept me into his arms. Liam carried me and strode quickly toward the bedroom. While I was still in a daze, he had already pressed me down on the bed and stripped off my clothes. Seeing me staring at him, Liam let out a low chuckle. "What? Like what you see?" "No," I quickly retorted. He stopped smiling, and a storm of kisses rained down on me again. My mind went blank, but my body began to respond instinctively. In my last moments of consciousness, I heard Liam whisper in my ear, "Avi." Avi was my nickname in the mortal world, only my family ever called me that. How would Liam know it? But I no longer had the strength to ask. The next day, I was shaken awake by Chloe. She gave my face a sharp pinch, and I jolted awake, sitting up abruptly only to feel a deep ache all over my body. "What's wrong?" Seeing my confused expression, Chloe tossed some clothes at me in frustration. What do you mean? What's wrong? You're the one who said we were leaving today. Did you forget? I've got all my stuff packed. You better hurry up. My head was still fuzzy, but I remembered our plan for the day and quickly got dressed, pulling out the bundle I had hidden under the bed. Seeing me rushing around, Chloe laughed. What were you up to last night? After getting dressed, her words made me recall everything from the night before. It was nothing. Humph, I saw the marks on you. Was it that intense last night? I shot her an annoyed look. That's because he was on an aphrodisiac. Wasn't he in his right mind? The person I arranged to help us can't wait much longer. Let us go. Chloe pouted, but let me pull her along as we hurried out. I specifically chose a path that few spirits used, and we quickly reached the border. I tossed the underworld currency I had prepared to the little spirit who was already waiting there. This is the payment we agreed on. You haven't forgotten what to do, have you? The spirit grinned from ear to ear. Nope, one forget. I nodded, exchanged a look with Chloe, and we jumped into the water. Above us, the little spirit immediately started shouting at the top of his lungs. Help! Help! The demons have kidnapped the Reaper's wives. Ghosts don't need to hold their breath, and can stay underwater for a long time. We swam all the way to the bottom and found the faintly glowing well. I handed Chloe the medicine I had prepared from my bag, gestured for her to take it, and then jumped in without hesitation. My body felt as if it were being pulled by a powerful force, and soon after, I lost consciousness. I don't know how much time passed, but someone shook me. Miss, are you all right? I opened my eyes and looked at the familiar surroundings. Chloe was still unconscious. I slapped her awake and said excitedly, we did it. In recent days, everyone in the capital knew about the two new young women who had set up a business. The two ladies had a mysterious background, but they carried themselves with the grace of high-born young misses. They were also incredibly generous with their money. As soon as they arrived in the capital, they bought out a tea house in the most bustling district. And for anyone who came to the tea house and could tell a few strange tales, the tea was on the house. Of course, all these rumors were true. The things we brought from the underworld were enough for us to live comfortably in the mortal realm for a very long time. Chloe was cracking melon seeds, listening with relish as a scholar talked about a supernatural event in his hometown. I brought a plate of pastries and sat down next to her. Chloe popped one in her mouth, but a moment later, she spit it out. She frowned. Did we get a new chef today? Why does this pastry taste so weird? I picked up the remaining half, sniffed it gently, and was met with the sweet scent of the pastry. No, it's the same chef as always. Chloe took a sip of tea to wash away the unpleasant taste. Maybe I'm still feeling the effects of that medicine you gave me? Lately, only sour things seem to help. I frowned slightly. The medicine I had given Chloe at the bottom of the river in the underworld was meant to temporarily dissipate her ghostly aura, allowing her to live like a normal person. I had swiped that medicine from Liam's stash of rare treasures, but it had been over a month. Even if the medicine had other side effects, they shouldn't have lasted this long. I took that medicine too, but I haven't had this reaction. And I haven't been craving sour food. I remember you never really liked sour things, did you? Chloe glanced at me and pinched my cheek. You're one to talk. Haven't you been telling the chef to make all your food spicy since we got here? I remember you never liked spicy food before, but now you've changed too. Haven't you? Let us just hire another chef in a few days. I nodded and didn't say any more. Looking at Chloe's pale face, I sighed and announced to the remaining customers in the tea house, apologies everyone. My friend isn't feeling well today, so we'll be closing up. The tea is on the house, please see yourselves out. Hearing this, the customers left without any issue. However, the scholar who had been telling Chloe stories stood there for a moment. If the lady is unwell, I happen to know a renowned traveling doctor. I could ask him to take a look. Chloe shook her head. It's nothing serious. I'll be fine after some rest. But I stopped the scholar. That would be very kind of you, sir. A short while later, the scholar returned with a man who looked like a doctor. Chloe held out her wrist, giving me a worried look. I nodded at her reassuringly. That pill not only removed our ghostly aura, but also changed our pulse, making a dead person's pulse feel just like a living one's. A normal medical checkup wouldn't be a problem. The doctor took her pulse, his brow furrowing deeper and deeper. Seeing his expression, I started to feel nervous. Doctor, what's wrong with her? Finally, the doctor's brow relaxed, and he broke into a smile. This is wonderful news. The lady is pregnant. What? Chloe shot to her feet, looking at her own belly in disbelief. Doctor, are you sure you didn't make a mistake? The doctor shook his head. I may not be a master physician, but I can certainly diagnose a pregnancy. However, the lady's pulse is weak, which suggests the pregnancy is not yet stable. But the baby is already over 2 months along. With plenty of rest, everything should be fine. I stared blankly at Chloe, and she looked up to meet my gaze. I thought you said Ethan treated you with respect, like a roommate? Chloe coughed, her face turning slightly red. Well, being respectful doesn't get in the way of, Who would have thought Ethan was so? I frowned, thinking back on my own strange symptoms these past few days. Even though ghosts don't have periods, I had been craving spicy food like crazy. Sometimes, even the smell of greasy food would make me feel nauseous. With that thought, I quickly held out my wrist for the doctor to check as well. The doctor's face showed a hint of surprise. Congratulations, the other lady is also pregnant. For both of you to be expecting at the same time. This is truly a double blessing. My hand trembled, and my voice shook uncontrollably. How many months? Well, this lady is a bit earlier, just over a month along. You'll need to take extra care. I will prescribe some herbs to help stabilize the pregnancies. It should be beneficial for both of you. I nodded stiffly and motioned for a servant to show the doctor out. Before he left, I pressed a bag of silver into his hand. Please, doctor, keep this a secret for us. From now on, Chloe's and my pregnancies are in your hands. Just over a month. It had to be from that one night with Liam. Wow, I have to say Liam is really something else. One time, and he hit the jackpot, Chloe said, nudging me with her shoulder. But I was distracted. What's wrong? Isn't having a baby a good thing? We don't know anyone here anyway. It'll be nice to have a couple of kids to keep us company. I frowned, looking out the window at the sky. Chloe, you have to remember, we aren't carrying just any babies. These are ghost babies. The children of the Black and White Reapers. And you and I aren't human. We can hide our own auras, but we can't hide our children's. They're going to find out where we are eventually. 3 days later, the little spirit we had paid to help us escape came to report in secret. He said that after Chloe and I disappeared, Ethan had practically torn the underworld apart looking for her. He had become volatile and irritable, no longer the gentle White Reaper everyone knew. As for Liam, when he heard the news, he didn't have much of a reaction at first. But then he started drilling his ghost soldiers relentlessly, even launching an invasion into the demon realm. He captured a demon general and demanded to know where Ava was. He seemed even crazier than Ethan. If it were the old days, given Liam's attitude towards me, I wouldn't be afraid of him coming to find me. But now, although I didn't understand why Liam's attitude had changed so drastically, if our children's auras were detected, those two would be on our doorstep in a second. Hearing me say this, Chloe started to worry too. I don't want to go back. The mortal realm is so much better. Way better than that cold, dreary underworld. I stroked Chloe's hair, and suddenly remembered a piece of news I'd heard at the tea house. I heard from a customer that a pair of jade pendants are going up for auction in the capital soon. They say the pendants are made of divine jade, and can conceal any aura, whether you're human, ghost, demon, or monster. Chloe's eyes lit up. That's perfect. We still have some stuff left. I'll have someone pawn it all for cash right now. I nodded, watching Chloe hurry away, but a sense of unease lingered in my heart. Thinking of pendants, I took the one I'd swiped from Liam's study from my waist and examined it closely. This jade pendant was so familiar, but I just couldn't remember where I had seen it before. Besides, seeing how much Liam treasured it, the original owner must have been the old flame he held so dear in his heart. At that thought, I felt a strange tightness in my chest. Sighing, I pushed those thoughts aside and focused on calculating whether we had enough money to win that pair of pendants. Chloe and I gathered all our assets, heading to the auction house with the mindset that we would get those pendants even if it meant going bankrupt. The people at the auction were all rich and powerful. Even for people as free-spending as Chloe and me, we could only get seats in the main hall. The second floor was reserved for the truly wealthy and influential. The auction began, and the first few items were mostly rare treasures, nothing particularly special. The final, headline item was the pair of jade pendants. I nudged a dozing Chloe and pointed to the auction stage. Chloe, that's what we need. Chloe woke up, sat up straight, and prepared to start bidding. The starting price was 1 tael of gold, which made most of the people in the hall back down. Even Chloe couldn't help but gasp. That's such a rip-off. Starting so high. I shook my head. It's not an ordinary item after all. The bidding started, and Chloe quickly dominated the floor. By the time we had spent nearly everything we brought, no one else was bidding against us. 1,000 taels of gold, going once. 1,000 taels of gold, going twice. 5,000 taels. The smile on Chloe's face froze. She turned in disbelief, staring at the second-floor private room where the voice had come from. I frowned. Things were already spiraling out of control. And the person upstairs was clearly not someone to be trifled with. Ava, 5,000 taels. They could sell both of us and we wouldn't be worth that much. I know. The auctioneer on stage began the countdown. I gritted my teeth. 5,500. 8,000. This time, the voice was different, and it sounded vaguely familiar. I turned my head, staring intently at the room upstairs, but there was nothing I could do. 8,000 taels of gold. Even if we emptied out Liam's South's entire estate, it probably wouldn't be worth that much. The auction hammer fell. Chloe deflated, slumping against me in defeat. Now what do we do? We'll find a way. Don't worry. All right, don't be sad. I'll take you to that new restaurant to eat. Chloe nodded and followed me out of the auction house. When we got to the restaurant and had just sat down, a waiter came over with a pot of wine. Ladies, this is from the gentleman in the private room next door. He said he would like to meet you. I frowned. Meet us? He also said that if you meet with him, he will give you the jade pendants from the auction. Hearing that, Chloe tugged on my sleeve. I thought for a moment, then stood up and walked out. This was the capital city, after all. He couldn't do anything to us in broad daylight. Besides, we weren't even human. The waiter led us to the door of the private room next door. It was silent inside, as if no one was there. I took a deep breath and pushed the door open. A familiar voice drifted out. Ava, you've had enough fun in the mortal realm. It's time to come home. My feet stopped. I stared at the man in front of me in disbelief. Liam? Realizing who it was, I immediately turned to run. But the next second, Liam yanked me inside. Chloe, who was right behind me, watched as I was pulled in. Just as she was about to rush forward and grab me, another voice spoke softly from behind her. Chloe, I found you. Ethan had appeared behind her at some point. He still had that same smiling expression, but the smile didn't reach his eyes. Chloe, run. The moment I saw Ethan, I understood their plan. They had probably known where we were from the very beginning. Our auras were hidden, but the only place they could search was the mortal realm. Finding two specific people would naturally take some time. But a ghost knows a ghost. They used the reputation of the capital's top auction house to lure us out into the open. The door slammed shut, and Liam pinned me against it. The person you should be worried about right now is yourself. I stared at him. You knew all along. Liam raised an eyebrow, a rare smile gracing his lips. Yes. I knew on the third day after you ran away. Money makes ghosts turn millstones, Ava. You could bribe that little spirit, and so could I. I scowled. Liam, what's the point? You don't like me. You don't like this arranged marriage. Your heart belongs to someone else. And I don't want to spend my days with a block of wood either. Life in the underworld is too boring. Do we really have to be tangled up together for the rest of eternity? Let me go. I'll even ask the king for a divorce. How about it? Liam's grip on my wrist tightened, and he narrowed his eyes at me. Who told you all this? I scoffed. How could Liam, even at a time like this, be concerned about whether I had found out about his secret love? Is it that hard to figure out? I expected Liam to get cold again, but instead he laughed. I gave him a strange look and pulled my hand free as his grip loosened. What are you trying to do? Liam didn't answer, his gaze simply shifting to my stomach. I instinctively shielded my belly. Liam smiled. Avi, a child can't be without a father, can they? Avi. There was that name again. How do you know that name? Even Chloe didn't know that nickname. Liam tilted his head and pointed to the jade pendant at my waist. Avi, you really don't remember? He embraced me again, but this time his movements were much gentler. Avi, how could you not remember? I finally recognized you, after all this time. Even like this, you still don't recognize me? Liam looked somewhat dejected, like an abandoned puppy. The expression felt strangely familiar. Seeing my confused face, Liam didn't say any more. He pulled me over to the bed. Remembering what happened that night, I immediately cried out. Wait. I'm pregnant, you can't. The man let out a soft laugh. I know. Avi, you're tired. You should sleep. It's time for us to go home. For some reason, after Liam said that, my eyelids grew heavier and heavier, and I finally lost consciousness. When I opened my eyes again, it wasn't Liam's face I saw, but the Underworld King smiling down at me. Ah, Mississippi Ava, we meet again. I sat up, grabbed the king by his collar, and started yelling. You damn liar. You tricked me. What did you promise when you arranged our marriage? Look at the life I'm living now. I finally get a chance to run, and I get dragged back here. You have to compensate me. You have to. And where's Chloe? What happened to Chloe? The king, struggling to breathe, managed to pull his collar free. Mississippi Ava, everything I said before was true. It's a shame, really. The resentment from your death was so strong that when it finally dissipated in the underworld, you lost many of your memories along with it. If you had even a sliver of your memories from the mortal realm, you and Liam wouldn't be in this situation. I frowned. What do you mean? Mississippi Ava, even now you still don't remember anything? Or do you still believe that it was all just a dream? The king's words left me stunned. Fragment after fragment of memories, both strange and familiar, flooded my mind. Things I had once dismissed as just dreams, I now understood were real events from my past life. Liam had entered the room at some point. The king tactfully excused himself, and Liam sat down beside me, sighing at my dazed expression. Avi. I looked at him, and hearing that familiar name, another wave of memories washed over me. This wasn't the first time I had met Liam. To be precise, I had met him when he was alive. My memories of being human weren't pleasant, so it's no wonder I didn't want to remember. Although my family, the Songs, were officials in the capital, my father was at the very bottom of the ladder. My mother married down, took care of the entire Song family for 3 years, and begged her own family countless times just for the chance to return to the capital. But later, my mother died young, and my father immediately brought his mistress into the home. And that mistress already had a 3-year-old daughter and a 5-month-old son. The day I met Liam was the day my stepsister falsely accused me of trying to push her into the water. It was a clumsy lie, but my father believed it. I was forced to kneel in the center of the courtyard for an entire day. Without a doubt, this was another one of my stepmother's schemes to humiliate me. That's when Liam appeared. I knelt until nightfall, drowsy and exhausted. A rustling sound behind me made me jolt awake. I looked over and saw a thin figure climbing through a doggy door. Intrigued, I went over and pulled the figure inside. The boy had a panicked look on his face, and didn't dare to look at me. He immediately placed what he was holding in front of me. Spare me, my lady. I was just so hungry. I looked down and saw a slightly moldy bun. That kind of thing was usually thrown away. What's your name? The boy paused, then cautiously looked up at me. My name is Liam. From then on, every night, I would prepare food and wait for Liam. This went on for 3 years. The last time he came to see me, he said he had news of his family. Avi, I'm going to Jiangnan. When I find my family, I'll come back for you. After he said that, his face turned a little red. Avi, is it okay if I call you that? I raised an eyebrow, unconcerned. Sure. Liam flashed his familiar smile. He left. Before he went, I gave him the jade pendant my mother had left me. I didn't expect him to come back for me. I just hoped he would remember that someone like me existed. After that, my life returned to its boring routine. It wasn't until I was older and my father allowed me to go out that I met Chloe. 5 years later, a fire broke out in the Song residence. My bedroom door was locked, and I burned to death inside. My last hazy memory was of someone rushing into the fire, ignoring the flames to carry me out. After that, full of resentment, I lingered in the Song house for years, refusing to leave. I watched as my stepmother was slowly driven mad by my haunting. Even her daughter was caught up in a scandal and forced to become a nun. As for my father, he was investigated for corruption, stripped of his official rank, and banished from the capital forever. My grudge was settled. I followed a reaper to the underworld, but I had forgotten all my memories. I looked at Liam with a complex expression. Without a doubt, he was the Liam from all those years ago. How did you die? Liam paused. Suicide. At your grave. I was silent for a moment. Did you find your family? Liam hesitated, then nodded. I found them. In the years I was away, I thought if I could make a name for myself as an official, I could come back for you with my head held high. But the next time I saw you, it was like that. What about Chloe? According to the king, I died because of my stepmother's deliberate murder, which wasn't my fated death. But what about Chloe? Liam raised an eyebrow. Do you know who Ethan was to her? I shook my head. He was her former fiancé. The Shun and Xie families had already arranged the marriage. In their human lives, they should have been a loving couple. The problem was that the Xie family were social climbers. When they saw that a princess was interested in Ethan, they insisted he break off the engagement. Ethan refused, so the Xie family conspired with the princess to have Chloe kidnapped, murdered, and her body dumped in front of the Shun family's home. The Shun family was not powerful. No matter how much they grieved, what could they do? They could only pack up and leave that heartbreaking place. When Ethan found out, he set fire to his entire family estate on his wedding night with the princess, killing everyone. I clenched my fists. In my years as a ghost, I was trapped in the Song residence. I never imagined Chloe had suffered so much. Sensing my anger, Liam wrapped his arms around me and soothed me gently. It's okay. It's all over. The people who deserved it are long dead. With my current status in the underworld, people like them will never be reincarnated. They will suffer in the 18 levels of hell for all eternity. I looked down, my eyes stinging, but no tears would come. Ghosts can't cry. Seeing me like this, Liam's heart ached. Avi, it was my fault. I should have remembered everything the first moment I saw you. I waited for you in the underworld for so long that I almost forgot that memory myself. Thank God I remembered. Thank God it's not too late. Liam lowered his head, wearing that same pitiful expression again. I stroked his head. It's not your fault. I'm the one who dragged you into this. Liam shook his head and snuggled closer. Avi, don't leave again, okay? Okay. I leaned against Liam's shoulder, and he gently rubbed my belly. Has the baby been bothering you lately? Just as he was speaking, the door was suddenly pushed open, and Chloe burst in. Ava, I have something to tell you. But when she saw the scene in the room, she immediately covered her eyes. I didn't see anything. I stood up, gestured for Liam to leave, and pulled Chloe to sit down. It's fine. Go ahead, what is it? Chloe glanced at me and sighed. I've actually met Ethan before. I know. Chloe's eyes widened in disbelief. You even know that? I smiled. Liam told me. I've remembered everything about my past too. Chloe pouted. So you also know how pathetically I died? Ava, after you died in the fire, I was secretly investigating. I was so close to exposing that vicious woman. If it weren't for that petty princess. Hearing her words, my heart ached for her. I squeezed her cheek. Chloe, you've suffered so much. Thank you for still thinking of me. Chloe's eyes turned red, but since she couldn't cry, she just buried her face in my shoulder. I'm just glad I didn't forget you when I got here. Ava, from now on we have to stay together, always. I laughed and nodded. Always. Recently, there had been a lot of happy news in the underworld. The biggest news was that the wives of the Black and White Reapers had both given birth, one to a girl and one to a boy. It was said that for the sake of the children's well-being, the two reapers had even petitioned the king to allow them to return to the mortal realm for a while. In the south, Chloe and I sat on a small boat, each holding a baby. Chloe looked at my daughter, Clara, then at her own son and pouted. Girls are so much prettier. Look at this little guy. I smiled and shook my head. Don't say that. I think Leo is wonderful. He seems much calmer than Clara. Hearing this, Chloe's eyes instantly lit up. Then let us arrange a marriage for them. I gave her a weary look. So that was your real goal, wasn't it? Before I could finish, Liam lifted the curtain and came in, taking Clara from me. I don't agree. Clara is still so young. How can she be engaged so early? Ethan followed him in. Why not? Leo is already so calm and sensible at such a young age. He'll definitely be a good husband in the future. He said this while picking up Leo, as if he were competing with Liam. The bickering was giving me a headache. They had been like this almost every day since the babies were born. Chloe was also fed up. She pushed both of them out. Go, go, go. Go watch the kids. Ava and I still have a lot to talk about. Liam grumbled. You two are stuck together all day. Who is her husband, me or you? I went over, took Chloe's hand, and raised an eyebrow. Keep talking. You keep talking, and we might just run away for a second time. Liam fell silent and dragged Ethan outside. Chloe and I looked at each other and smiled, squeezing each other's hands. When the kids are older, how about we find a place in the mortal realm and settle down? I'd love that. The king probably wouldn't refuse, right? He won't. We'll just let Liam handle it. The end.